Okay, so we have our pump here at the moment. We need to understand how pumps do work, and we need to make sure that whatever pump you buy, it's got enough pressure to be able to get up as high. So this is called the head height, however high you need it to be pumping. So I'm needing this to pump up about 1 metre, so I had to get a higher flow rate to be able to do that. Now, pumps usually have a couple of components. This is often, there's a filter here. I've taken this part out just so that it flows a bit more smoothly, but this is one place. They're all pretty much the same components, but they do vary a little bit on how you do it. This pump also is a twist. Now this is a propeller shaft. You want to make sure that you don't break it. It's, oh my god, it's so easy to break that. And this is the propeller. Every month you'll need to take this out and give it a bit of a wipe down and clean, because it gets very, very grubby, very, very grotty. And the same within here. I have an old toothbrush that I use to clean the inside of the propeller shaft. That's right here, as well as the hole for where it goes. And there's an O-ring that keeps it all together. So popping it all back, twisting it, and it's back in place. How awesome is that? Easy, but you do need to maintain it. Some pumps, like this one, have different, you can adjust the flow rate. I'm going to keep it on maximum and see how that goes. I'm also going to be adding valves throughout the system to be able to see where things are at. So at the moment, I worked out how deep this tank is, and I've just got aquarium piping. Just slides on nice and easy, and we want the T valve here. The T valve means I can add a piece of pipe to go back into the tank, and I can cut that at the level I want, but I will also be adding the valve here, so I can adjust if I want to open that or close it more, and this pipe will then be going up into my filter, which I'm about to do now. Okay, we can see in this video we've got the guard in place. We've got the cap right down the bottom that's attached to here and it's screwed in. And we lean over it and we've got the standpipe and everything like that in there. We can pop the bell on that, but at the moment that's just showing you that's going to be the maximum water height from what I've put in. And you'll see if I put the camera down here, we've got the guard coming a little bit over because we don't want any of the gravel getting in there. And underneath, we'll see how we go with the... Yep, so you can see the underneath part. I've got the O-ring and then the female join there. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so my excuse me, filter part at the moment, as I said, I haven't got this particular grow bed connected, but this pipe is coming straight up from the pump, which is in a tank up here, and I've just used a irrigation fitting. Yeah. Now I need to still put a catch on here to stop that from moving. And in the top here you'll see the water is now coming out. And this is, I've put a nut on here so it's not going to move. The two valves, I've got it on either side. I did end up siliconing them in to make sure that they don't leak at all, because they did leak. And I still have a nut on the inside of both of them too. Now, this is an empty filter. I have not put anything in there, and what I will be popping in is a lot of that shade cloth that I've got down there, as well as some of the bacteria that I've got in my sump over there from that aquaponic system. I have some Coldness One bioballs in the sump, so I'll be moving some of them in there, and that will then seed this filter and this system with bacteria. But at the moment, until I've actually done the plumbing on this, which will be done in the next little while, I don't want to be putting bacteria in there, because I'm going to be adding tap water which is chlorinated, and the chlorine will kill the bacteria. So once I've got all of the water filled up completely and it's at the right levels, I'll then gas it off for 24 hours. So that just means letting it run and letting it aerate. That'll gas off any of the excess chlorine. From then, I can then add the shade cloth and also a layer of matting in there just to catch any of the solid waste. And that is the primary focus of our filters. In this particular case, we have two things about a filter. the mechanical waste, which is to remove solid waste from the system, which is your radial flow filter, your solid separator, a piece of matting that will be in an aquarium, and I will show you an aquarium filter soon. The other part of a filter is the biological filter, which is what converts where the bacteria live and what converts all of the ammonia into nitrite and then nitrate. Now, in our big aquaponic system up the back here, this is predominantly my biological filter. I do have some in these buckets here as well, but that's a different type of medium, but it still holds the bacteria. So this is my filtration. This is the main filter, and where all of my bacteria live is in here. And we have to excuse the fact we've got really big gusts of wind at the moment, so I've moved my silver beet, which will be harvested tomorrow. But yeah, so this is where the biological component is. And with this little system over here, I've bought the expanded clay, and that will be going in these two grow beds, the expanded clay, and I've got a mix of gravel as well. That will be my primary biological filter will be the grow beds. But I will have a small amount of biological filtration in this little trickle filter. But the main purpose of this is just to remove solid waste. And that's because, as you can see, we've got the pump down here. This is going to pump all water and waste straight up into the system. Now, I could pop that on a brick and have it pump in from there, and that way it keeps all the solid waste at the bottom, but the fish will kick it up anyway, because the fish are going to be swimming around. And as you saw, when we're dumping the water in from the flood and drain, it's also going to mix everything up. So I kind of, to me, I see it's a little bit of irrelevant whether it's on a brick or just straight on the drum there. So that's why I've set up a separate little filtration system up here, just purely to catch all of that solid waste from the fish before it goes into the grow beds. We don't want the solid waste from your fish tank, from your fish, going into the grow beds. It will clog up your grow beds, it will turn smelly, it will turn anaerobic, and even in a flood and drain system it will still turn anaerobic, which means no oxygen, and it will start to get really smelly, and it will start to kill off areas of your grow bed, kill off the bacteria. And if all of it or enough of it is covered, and then any of that dead back, because once you've got an anaerobic area, sorry my hand here, when you've got an anaerobic area within your grow bed, it will start to spread, and that has a third bacteria in there which actually removes the nitrate from the system and also removes oxygen from the system. It can only, that third bacteria, we don't really want in our aquaponic system because it only works in an anaerobic area, so when there's no oxygen in that space. That's why we have anaerobic filtration within a marine aquarium. Because there's big thick areas within marine aquariums, especially their filters, that are anaerobic, so no oxygen, and that removes a lot of the nitrates. So a bit different setup, but it happens there. In the aquaponic system, what will happen is if there is any anaerobic area, it will then spread throughout the grow bed, and if that bacteria and that low oxygen or no oxygen environment or water ends up getting back into your fish tank, you've now got a problem of low oxygen for your fish. So we really want to avoid that. So, yeah, okay, let's move on to the next part. G'day. Radio, so we've had this running now. She's been doing great, right balances, and we're about to have that flood and drain one drain out any moment into the fish tank down there. No leaks. By playing with the valves, I've had everything working perfectly. It's now time for me to add the expanded clay. And why am I haven't also, the other thing I haven't done is I haven't put any of the filter medium in here yet, just purely because of what I'm about to do now. I'm filling this bin up with water because the clay here, it's dusty, dirty. We've got to give it a really good wash to get all of that dirt off, which is really awesome. So because I'm using the town water, tap water to do that, and also to make sure that it gets enough water in there, gets saturated and actually starts to drop, because otherwise it will float. So we're wanting to make sure all of that's happening. Awesome. The drain part's happening now. Woohoo! You can see it in here, fill up, maybe not. Yeah, so we're wanting to make sure that we get this fully clean and get it ready for the bacteria, basically. So yeah, just give it a good wash. So this is the expanded clay water that I was showing you that we needed to make sure you clean, and it's straight out of the bag. And this is why we don't want it in our aquaponics system. So we need to make sure that we wash it first and then we pop it in our system so that we can get rid of all of that excess stuff. So this is the solid waste filter that I popped up here just to catch any waste, and you can see I've got that running now to catch up any of the extra dust that might be in the system. Doesn't seem to be any at the moment. I did a good job of washing it all, but I just wanted to be able to show you that's why we say wash things first.